Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the founding editor of Golf Digest Middle East, Mr. Robbie Greenfield, and his panelists.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this very special panel entitled A New Course, What's Next for the Game of Golf? Well, I can tell you, in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the answer to that question is an awful lot, because we are sitting in, quite simply, the most exciting emerging market for the world of golf and sport in general in the world today. It's my absolute pleasure and delight to introduce to you the panelists, the esteemed panelists who will be joining me in the discussion and painting a picture for you as to what's going to happen in the world of golf over the course of the next 11, 12 years as we build up to Vision 2030. To my direct left, I'm delighted to introduce Majed Al-Sorour. He's the CEO of Golf Saudi and the CEO also of the Saudi Golf Federation. The man next to Majed needs no introduction. He's a living golfing legend. He's a four-time major champion, a winner of 71 worldwide tournaments, an esteemed course designer. It's the one and only Ernie Els.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
To Ernie's left, we have the CEO of the European Tour, a man who's laid out a bold new vision for that tour. It's the one and only Keith Pelley. And last but not least, we have an ambassador for Golf Saudi, a winner on the Ladies European Tour. Please give a round of applause to Camilla Lenarth. Let's start with Majed as we enter into this discussion, Majed. And we know, I mean, anyone who's been paying attention to sporting headlines in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia knows that there's an awful lot happening here at the moment, and golf is an integral part of that. Yep. Can you start by perhaps just describing the vision for golf in Saudi Arabia going forward?
First of all, thank you for attending this session. Who would think golf is going to be part of the FII? Thank you to the Crown Prince, thank you to His Excellency, Mr. Yasser Mayan, for allowing us to actually unveil the vision and the progress of golf in Saudi Arabia. As we all know, that the Vision 2030 is not only a vision of transformation, but it's much more bigger than that. Golf takes a very integral part, an important part in the world. And when we look at it, it's just changing the lifestyle of the human. We are building an ecosystem, building infrastructure, building a mass participation. We are making tourism part of it, and we're just introducing the whole vision by making a transformation. Having people such as Ernie being an ambassador with us, Camilla, and having you, Keith Pelley, in the kingdom is a desire that we all wanted to have. And thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
Let's talk, if we can, to Keith, because it's been a huge moment, Keith, for the European Tour and Saudi Arabia coming together. We saw in January the Saudi International won so brilliantly by the American former world #1 Dustin Johnson. How did that come together? Put that into your own words, and what kind of, I suppose, springboard has that given the European Tour for future golf, future growth in the kingdom?
Sure. Well, we play in 31 different countries, and the Middle East has always been a very important part of our schedule, based on the fact that you can't play in Europe in January or in February, and if you do, it's going to be pretty cold, Ernie. So we back in 1989, we developed a relationship with Dubai. I think Ernie won the first tournament there in 1994, and the race to Dubai became synonymous with our tour. It culminates the end of the year. And the reason why the Middle East is so important is the climate is terrific, the amenities are always first rate, and the golf courses are sensational. And so when we started to talk to His Excellency and Majed, you know, they wanted to use golf to help the transformation of the country like Dubai did. And as a Canadian, the thought of the race to Dubai was my first touch point with Dubai. And that will happen now with the ambition that Majed and the country has with golf. And we're excited about it because there is no question they're at the forefront of helping us develop the game. It's a very important region for it. They want to do everything first class. To bring the likes of Camilla and Ernie here showcases that they're really serious about the game. And of course, the game is so much about inclusivity, and it's so much about innovation, and it's so much about globalizing. And that's what the tour is all about, and that's what the Saudi Arabian Golf Federation has the same vision that we have. So it was a terrific tournament last year, but we're just in the infancy of developing a really strong relationship with the kingdom and growing golf and growing this wonderful game together.
We've seen, Majed, how professional golf is a driver for the entire golfing industry. Seeing stars like we have up on stage here will encourage young kids to get involved in the game, that will inspire them. What did you feel about introducing the Saudi International? What was the thinking behind that? And what's the ultimate vision for a golf event component in Saudi Arabia?
Right. You know, it covers multiple different aspects of not only the game itself, but actually the introduction of Saudi Arabia, that the kingdom is open for business. That's the first thought. But then it builds up on all of our pillars. You know, we have multiple pillars that we build when you build an ecosystem. Having to do the tournament itself is actually raised an awareness to the rest of the kingdom that golf is something really beautiful. You know, everybody was worried, what is it going to look like, until people came and visited. The greenery around you, the sea, the beautiful setting, always is a captivating things for the golf and golf audience.
And what about ladies golf? Because I know you have plans for that. The Ladies European Tour, Camilla Lenarth here as an ambassador for Golf Saudi.
Before we get there, we have one of our junior, his name is Ali Babtain. He just won the under 16 years old. And this is from just a small part that we've been working in the development of the golf industry. So the mass participation. The Ladies European Tour has been working with us very closely, and I think we need to announce that one for the first time, that we will host a Ladies European Tour this upcoming March. You know, I'm really thankful for His Excellency and our board members. We have a really great board when it comes to the Saudi Golf Federation, or the company that we created is called Golf Saudi. We work tirelessly. They've been working very closely, getting assessment, getting more information. So we will welcome you, Camilla, and your team, hopefully very soon here in March. And we're looking forward to actually serve one part of our ecosystem to bring golf for the ladies in Saudi Arabia. So.
Camilla, can I get your reaction to that? I mean, the opportunity, we've seen the huge plans that Saudi Arabia has for golf, the opportunity for the Ladies European Tour and for ladies professional golfers to be a part of that. What are your thoughts?
Well, with Saudi Arabia just expanding in golf, I think it's absolutely great to have an event here. It's a positive change, and I love being part of that. And I actually can't wait to come over here and play and hopefully just help growing the game for women and get them more involved. And it's just really positive to be over here playing next year.
Fantastic. And let's bring Ernie into the conversation, Ernie, because you've been coming out to the Middle East for, as I think Keith mentioned, so long now, 25 years that you won the first Dubai Desert Classic, of which you've won 3, of course. When you've seen an emerging golf market like the UAE and Dubai come up, and you've traveled the world, you've won 71 events worldwide, if you were asked to give your advice for Saudi Arabia as it begins to build these blocks to emerge as a golf market, what would you say?
Well, thank you. Thanks for having us. Yeah, as you mentioned, you know, I've been coming to the Middle East since 1993, and my first stop here was in Dubai, and there wasn't much there at that time. You know, I remember flying into the airport. It was really just a two-lane highway, two-lane road. From there, all the way out to the golf course, which was about 30 kilometers outside. And that road continued, I think, to Abu Dhabi. I'm not sure. But Today, when you go there, it's a very different story. And that's in 25 years. Can you imagine what can happen here in the kingdom? You know, it's my first visit here to Riyadh, and I'm blown away. Truly, it's. I had to check the statistics of how many people in Riyadh. You know, there's almost 8 million people in Riyadh, and that's amazing. I've been to Jeddah. We played in the Saudi event this year at Royal Greens, and I thought it was an amazing place. There's going to be a lot of growth here. What I've seen through my experiences is golf is a really an integral part of development. You know, a lot of places I've been to, they've used golf to really get the message out. And I think here in Saudi, it's going to be an amazing message. Already this year at the Saudi Open, Saudi International, great player won the tournament already. You get very positive media coverage for that. Golf can be a unifier. I come from South Africa and grew up through the apartheid days in South Africa through the 80s. Went to the military there in 88, 89. And right after there was a huge transformation that happened in South Africa. And our then president, President Mandela, used sport as a bringing together a tool for our nation. And it worked unbelievably well. I know we're going to play rugby against the English this Saturday in the World Cup final, but rugby was a huge part of the success of bringing our nation together, bringing the people together. In 1995, I was at the World Cup final, and all people of South Africa got together. Rugby was really, if I can call it that, the white man's sport in South Africa. But on that particular day, the whole of South Africa came together. And that's the power of sport. Sport can really, really change things in a rapid fashion. Because all of us are sports fans, whether you like yachting, tennis, horse racing, or golf. You know, you have a favorite that you root for, and hopefully you get that favorite to come and play sport in your area. And really, that's how you bring people together, whether you're rooting for the guy or not. So I've seen the power of sport, and especially golf, you know, work its magic around the world.
I'm not going to waste my time asking for your prediction of the Rugby World Cup final, Ernie. But speaking of the rugby, I mean, Japan is a great example of an emerging rugby nation that's been inspired by hosting the World Cup. And Majed, in terms of the infrastructure, if the top professional events are the pinnacle, if they're the top of the tree, there are so many more layers that you need to build to ensure a successful and a commercially successful golf business.
Right.
Can you give us an example of maybe how that might look? Because the game has changed as well. It's not just about 18-hole golf courses now, is it? There's so many more different options and components.
So again, you know, we can't do it ourselves. So we started to work with experts and our ambassadors, such as Mr. Ernie or Keith Pelley or any of the industry leaders. And we thought to transform golf as we are actually coming from our infancy. We thought that old traditional way of playing golf, 18-hole, it's a beautiful thing, but you really have to have the time, you have to have the energy, then you have to have the knowledge. So we thought that we can build multiple different layers of golf itself. So 6-hole golf course, 9-hole golf course, 12-hole golf course is actually adaptable. Short greens, you know, par 3s. Now we have the idea of the top golf, such as, I don't want to name in particular, but all the technology that has transformed golf now. You can actually play golf in a simulator where you enjoy it. You can play golf just in a driving range where you can actually pretend your shots, you know, by trace trackers or stuff like that. The game is changing, and we are introducing this game to the kingdom from all different levels. So the infrastructure hopefully is going to start very soon. Our kickoff for the first announcement is probably going to be day or tomorrow. We heard the announcement of the Diriyah Gates and Greg Norman, which is really great. We have multiple announcements. We have Al-Qiddiya, we have Neom, the Red Sea, the Alamala. We work really closely with them also as well. And we can't wait until we have such person as Ernie also come and design golf courses in here. Most of the golf courses that we're going to be building is going to be branded, but yet technology is going to take a big part of that transformation in golf.
Golf in Saudi Arabia evolving at such an amazing pace, and Keith, golf as a consumer, as a product, is also evolving at an amazing pace as well. We're delighted to be joined with these incredible trophies, both held, I should add, by the European teams, the Ryder Cup and the Solheim Cup. And Keith, those types of events stop the world. The world stops to watch for those events. But it's an ever competitive and ever more challenging marketplace, isn't it? The world of professional sport. And I know you guys have been very innovative in the way that you've approached staying ahead of that curve. Can you kind of describe how you've gone about doing that?
Sure, and I think what Majed said is, in terms of the innovation and the different formats, is critical. Obviously everything is about globalization, everything's about technology, and people are living to 100. And if you look at those particular segments, that can lead you to your actual strategy. So when we talk about technology, we've been talking about the collection of data points, but technology is the world that we are living in now is an era of concentration decline. So the millennials have a concentration span of 12 seconds, and the Gen Z have a concentration span of 8 seconds. Now, in order for them to love the game, and the 72-hole tournament, the 18-hole magical tournaments are still going to be the core of what we do. But to get the younger people, to get different people involved in our game, different formats are critical. And Majed mentioned Topgolf, he mentioned Golf Sixes. We created a Golf Sixes tournament with the pros, and last week the Scottish government said this is a way forward. They have 70 leagues right now in Scotland with the kids getting involved. They're going to move to 100. France during the Ryder Cup built 100 short game facilities and short 9-hole golf courses. So once you get people into this game, boy, you fall in love with it. And once you understand the benefits, for the youth, it teaches you life skills, it teaches you how to control your emotions or lack thereof. It teaches you discipline. It is the most inclusive game. It's the only game where an 80-year-old can play with a 10-year-old and, based on the handicap system, have the most wonderful competitive match. And the health benefits it has as the generation even grows older is enormous. Walking 18 holes is 10,000 steps. And we don't celebrate the unique selling positions of this wonderful game, which is, in fact, it is the most inclusive game. However, having said that, at the core of everything we do at the European Tour is about innovation and about building the audience and building participation of this wonderful game. And once you get a chance to play it, and even if it's in a short game facility, you'll fall in love with it. And the aspiration to play an 18-hole course like Royal Greens with the backdrop of the Red Sea is really a phenomenal dream to have.
It's amazing to think that out there right now there's so much untapped potential, Ernie, in terms of there's a lot of Saudi Arabian kids out there who've never heard of golf, they've never touched a golf club, but yet they could be a future superstar. Can you talk briefly about how you were inspired to take up the game, and also how critical it is to not only stage these huge tournaments, but also to work at a grassroots level to inspire the young kids of today to take up the game and ensure that talent comes through?
Well, it's great listening to these guys, and Camilla, I mean, the game is magic, but you got to get introduced to the game. It's quite a difficult game. You talk about the millennials. I've got a millennial daughter that's 20 years old, and I try to get her into the game at an early age, and she got into it a little bit, but the game was really difficult for her, so she kind of gave it up. She would hit one good shot out of 10, and you know, the emotions take over, and she's like, no, I'll go do something that's a little easier. But now she's 20 years old, okay? She kind of gets it a little bit better, and she enjoys the game. But what I'm trying to say is at an early age, if you can get that particular kid, girl or boy, to get hooked to the game, where the game's a little bit easier as they start, they're going to really enjoy the game. And then they're going to get the benefits, as Keith is talking about, what the game really teaches you, the integrity of the game, the rules of the game, the etiquette of the game, really goes into life. And you talk about life skills. You know, we have a foundation in South Africa where we do exactly that. And I think that's what we need to do in emerging markets like Saudi, is really get it right for the foundation of the game. So where these kids come in, I'm a bit more of a traditionalist. I like 18 holes of golf. But I get it, that these kids, especially people that's new to the game, they want to be out there for 5 hours, some of them. So you need to get an initiative to get them involved with the game, whether it's a golf ball that's a little bit bigger, a little bit lighter, so that they can develop a swing with the equipment that's suitable to their size. They get the ball in the air, they can start swinging the club properly, and then they feel they can get to grips with the game. And then later on, get them to develop their games and get into the traditional way of playing the game. But I think we got tools to do that via academies. You can get kids involved with academies, with schooling involved at the academies. These are things that we can discuss and take further, but I think in the kingdom, there's going to be just an influx of golf right throughout, and get the involvement from the young kids from a young age, and this thing will start growing. It's not going to take, you know, it's going to take a bit of time, but you've got to start it right with the right foundation.
Maybe a word from you on that note, Majed, on the Saudi Golf Federation and the work that you guys are doing on the grassroots level right now.
So, like I said, you know, we just, you know, pleasantly got the news that Ali Babtain won the Junior Cup in Spain, which is really great. We've been building a lot of mass participation for the girls and boys all together, where we're developing a much bigger plan, you know, for the kingdom moving forward. If I were to sit down here in 2030 and people tell me what is a successful story, like if we sit, you and I, hopefully we'll have the same panel in 2030, and when I look back, I want to know that I've developed, or we've developed as a collective effort between the company and everybody that's been working with us closely or from far away, players, ambassadors, Keith Pelley in the European Tour, that we can create numerous jobs for the kingdom, where actually the people can be your trainers, your golf caddies, your greenkeepers, and these are the names that golfers know. We don't have that just yet. But you know, who's growing the grass, who's managing the clubhouse and all that stuff. So we look at the story back, and we can have an Olympic winner. You can have somebody who's playing in the European Tour, or a winner of the European Tour, winner of the PGA Tour. This will become a bigger story to us, you know, moving forward. And I hope this accomplishment is being given to us from the highest vision, and we need to fulfill that vision to the better way that we can move forward with it.
We've talked about the importance of huge international golf tournaments, which we've already seen come into the kingdom. Yep. We've talked about the grassroots. Camilla, another important component is tourism. It's the man and woman on the street who just come and they love to play the golf courses that the pros play. They love to build a holiday destination around playing golf, and as much golf as possible. From what you've seen of your brief visits to Saudi Arabia thus far, is the kingdom in a good position with the courses that they have right now and the courses that are planned in the pipeline, do you feel, to start capitalizing on that proposition?
Yeah, just this is only my second time here, but I've been really impressed by the golf courses I've seen, and like you said, Keith, Royal Greens is really, really impressive and beautiful, and it's sitting stunningly just on the Red Sea. And I've been really fortunate to have been here for 2 days now and been taking around to some really beautiful locations. And yesterday I was brought to the Kidaya project, and We shot some really good content for golf, and I think it's going to be really good out there, just bringing the golf and the tourism attraction and the beautiful locations. It's going to be great, and I think it's going to attract a lot of people. So I sort of see that the sky is the limit here.
Ernie, you've become an esteemed course designer. You've built courses around the world, from Dubai to Mauritius to Malaysia. How excited are you by the prospect of what is essentially a blank canvas? There's so much to work with. Sand is, I know, an important prospect for any golf course, and there's plenty of that here. So in terms of what the potential would be to make some incredible world-class golf courses, what are your thoughts on where Saudi's at right now?
Well, the cost will come down because you don't have to worry about drainage too much. You know, a lot of the golf courses, we build in rainforests and so on, you really got to think about drainage. But yeah, we got a lot of sand and so forth. But as a lot on the panel, I haven't been to Riyadh, and just driving around, the topography of this place is amazing. It's not just sand. If you just drive out here, I mean, it almost looks like you're going through the Grand Canyon when you just drive out of town here. So for a golfer, as a dreamer that I am, I can just imagine this most amazing golf holes that we can build here in the kingdom. So the golf, from an architectural point of view, can be really stunning. And working with sand, as you know, you can move it around, and you can basically build whatever you want. We can go link style, we can bring in a lot of water, depending on the client's need, we can do that. And even the playability of the golf course. We talk about bringing the game to the people. So some of the golf we need to be very careful with, the level of play that we have to cater for. And then obviously for the tournament player, we want to really challenge them. But I believe we can build whatever you need to see, we can build in the kingdom. Yeah, it's going to be very exciting.
Hopefully we've painted a picture of what golf in the kingdom is going to look like over the course of the next decade. If you turn your eyes to the big screen, hopefully that picture will become even more vivid.
Gulf Saudi is on a transformational journey to the top of the world sporting stage. Introducing exciting new opportunities for the people of Saudi Arabia. Partnering with global industry experts to implement international best practice and deliver truly world-class facilities. Gulf Saudi will work with the biggest names in golf to create a dynamic new marketplace for the game. Built at the heart of Giga City developments, iconic names will design the courses of the future. Sustainably built and forward-thinking to create iconic global destinations. First-class coaching will discover national talent, produce regional stars, and international champions will be born. State-of-the-art facilities will be accessible for everyone, from beginners to families, young and old, to create a nation of beaming smiles. Inspired by the world's best talent at first-class events like the Saudi International, the people of the kingdom will be drawn to the game. Attracting tourists and visitors from all over the globe to experience the kingdom like never before. This is Saudi Arabia. A true golfing destination. That is the power of the game.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
A new course then, what's next for the game of golf? Hopefully we've given you a little insight into that, and I'd like to conclude this session by saying a massive thank you to our 4 incredible panelists, to Majed, to Ernie, to Keith, and to Camilla. Please put your hands together and show a round of applause.
Thank you.